Hi guys, today's topic is should you wake up a sleeping baby? I hear that question a lot and I really want to address it because the answer is yes, sometimes you can wake up a sleeping baby. Alright, let me ask you that question. Do you recognize yourself in that scenario? So you've been trying to put your baby down for 30 minutes or an hour and sometimes an hour and a half and finally she falls asleep. You're like, woohoo, yay! But like every day or at night, like every time she wakes up after 30 minutes and 47 seconds, like on the dot, boom, she wakes up. You're like, I knew it! But then, miraculously, one day she sleeps for 2 hours of nap. Like, what? You don't know what to do. She's been, asleep for so long, and then you ask yourself, oh, shall I wake her up? Should I not? Like, you're kind of confused. So let me give you some tips about that. So number one, if your baby is a newborn, yes, you have to wake her up. If she's been asleep for 2 hours to 3 hours, wake her up. She needs to eat. At that age, eating is trumping sleeping. So it's really important for her to eat at every 2 to 3 hours. So rule number one, if your baby is a newborn and she has been sleeping for 2 hours, yes, wake her up. Tip number two, try to balance your nap. What I mean by that is that if your baby is, let's say, 9 to 11 months, it's healthy to have during the day, to have 3 hours to 3.5 hours of nap time. So if your baby is sleeping the majority of his nap during, let's say, his first nap in the morning, and then he ends up sleeping 45 minutes in the afternoon, this is not ideal because the awake time between his last nap and his bedtime will be too much. Like being awake for 4 or 5 hours for that age range is way too much. So what I'd suggest is that try slowly to, yes, wake him up if he's been sleeping for, let's say, for 2.5 hours or 3 hours in the morning. If it's a one time, that's fine. But if it's on a regular basis and every single day, he's been sleeping for that amount of time in the morning, wake him up so he starts to getting used to maybe sleeping an hour and a half in the morning and like an hour and a half to, let's say, 2 hours in the afternoon, to make sure that he's really rested and not too fussy before bedtime. So that is rule number 2. And rule number 3, don't let the last nap be too close to bedtime. So if your little one is sleeping until 6 p.m. for a 7:30 bedtime, that's not gonna work, obviously. It's gonna be really difficult and almost like a battle for him to go to bed at 7:30. So make sure that depending on the age, to make sure to balance and make sure that your last nap is not too close to bedtime. Of course, depending on the age, if your baby is a 6-month-old baby, you can have him sleep until 5 p.m. let's say for a 7:30 bedtime. But if you have a 13-month-old, 4 o'clock is more ideal. And obviously all that it depends of your bedtime. So every family will be different, every scenario is different. So just keep that in mind for rule number 3. As you can see, there are a lot of different reasons why you should wake up a sleeping baby. So the first one is if he's a newborn, again, yes, wake him up. The second is make sure that your naps are balanced, that your baby is not sleeping too much during the morning naps and not enough in the afternoon. So make sure that both are well balanced. And the last one is make sure that the last nap is not too close to bedtime. So if she's been napping for hours, or like too close to bedtime, wake her up because we really want to make sure that she's getting a great night of sleep. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Share this video, like my social media, email me or call me if you have any questions. And as always, sleeping babies equal happy families.